Hey fam, I want to discuss the power of having a righteous man in your life. And unfortunately, when I think back to my childhood, I had not one example of a righteous man living in a home with his wife and children, leading them in worship and praise and taking them to church and teaching them the ways of the Lord. I've never seen that. I never had the opportunity to see that. And so as I got much older, it dawned on me how I missed something major in my life, right? And I thought I was okay because I had two grandmothers who were righteous. My dad's mom and my mother's mom, those are my two grandmothers, sensibly so. Maternal and maternal and fraternal grandmothers, right? They met in church, and then my parents met one another in church. My parents, they strayed away from the faith. They did their thing. But I always had my grandmothers to remind me of my purpose and to keep us grounded in our belief system that there was a God, there was a creator, and there were rules to follow by, and there was a way of life. And that was our foundation. And that's where I got my foundation for righteousness from the two women in my family. Did not recognize at the time how what was missing, the importance of a strong man and his leadership and his position in the home. I didn't get how important that was until much later. And let me tell you, I'm going to skip from my childhood on up to about, I was in my 40s, and I was working for this couple. Well, I was working for the mom. She was an elderly lady, and I was doing, I was going to say nursing assistant, home attendant. At the time, I was a home attendant for her. And she was a Jamaican lady, beautiful chocolate lady with this beautiful gray hair. My gosh, she was so cute. I used to do her hair all the time. She loved that. But in that household, the man of the household, he used to lead us in worship. And he would invite me to do so with them while I was at work. I was at work, but that was their home. And he would invite me to have worship with them. And one time when we were having worship, I always said yes. I loved it. I found it to be extraordinary, an extraordinary experience that I had never had, people. I never had that. Never. And then I realized what I was missing at that point. I realized what I missed out on. And anyway, we were worshiping, and that particular day, he asked us, his two daughters and his mother-in-law, his wife wasn't there at the time. She was at work. But he had asked us, what were we thankful for? And my mind just went to the moment that I was experiencing right there. And I said, I'm thankful for this. And it dawned on me. I said, I've never had this. And he was like, wow, and grandma was like, and his two daughters, they were young. He had a preteen and a teenager. And I looked at them and I said, you all are blessed to have a dad in the home who leads you in worship and guides his family righteously. I said, I never had this. And I started crying because I just felt a sense of sadness. I missed out on something so special during my most important years, my growing up process. I missed out on something that was really special. And I told them, young ladies, I said, y'all appreciate your dad, because I don't think there's many homes. I said, if there are, it wasn't my experience. I don't want to criticize every man. There are a lot of righteous men out here. I happen to not know many. In my entire family on both sides, that was not my experience. There was a lot of broken homes and broken marriages, and a lot of women raising the children without the dads involved. The dads weren't present. So I didn't get that. I never had that experience. So when I got that experience in my 40s, and I realized that I had never had it, it kind of hurt my heart. Sometimes you learn to live without certain things that you need because it's just a survival technique. We just learn how to do without until you one day realize just how important it is and how it would have benefited you more if you had it. And at that moment, I started crying. I didn't know what else to do. And I just thanked him. I thanked him for allowing me to be a part of the process. And I felt blessed. Now, I sung in a gospel group. And there was a lot of men in the group because there was a band. We had a whole full band, honey, drummer, trumpeter, not trumpeter. What did he have? Saxophone. Girl. Did anybody have a horn, child? I don't even remember. It's been so long. We had drummer, guitar, bass, and 2 piano players, right? Then we had 2 male singers in the group. And we would worship together. We would get together. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm tired. We would get together before ministering. I don't want to say performances because I don't like that word when it comes to sharing the gospel of Christ. Before we would minister, we would rehearse and we would have worship. We would read the word. We would pray together. And that would unite us so that we could be as one before we went out and spread the gospel through song. And so that was nice as well because there were men leading out. And I saw those particular men in the group being ahead of their families. And that was something that I just didn't have. And it was funny. I think at the same time, well, no, it was some years later, I was looking at family portraits. And I looked at the portrait that my mom took before she passed with myself and my 2 brothers. And then I looked at the portrait I had with myself and my 2 daughters. And the picture seemed so empty because the men were missing. And it's just like, boom. I had never thought about it before because, as I said, you just adjust to what you don't have. And it's your normal. But it's not what God ordained. And it was a lack in my life and the lives of my brothers and, of course, my daughters. Without the father, without the head, the man is supposed to be in charge, leading the way. We didn't have that. So that picture was not a picture of a family. That was a family with something missing. It's like a picture. Let me tell you something. When you have a photo of a family and the man is not there, that picture is equivalent to a body with no head. It's just like me with no head. There's a neck and then there's the rest of the body. It looks crazy. It's not right. It's not normal. It doesn't make sense. And so it dawned on me. I said, Lord, have mercy. This looks crazy. And that began to be very important to me. It's like our men are missing. And I'm not blaming the men for being missing. And I'm not necessarily blaming the woman because I'm sure in each relationship there were things that went down which both parties were responsible for. It takes 2 to get together and make a baby, so it's not a one-sided thing. But the fact that that was normalized in my life, that is crazy. And so I like to talk to women a lot. I like to share information. I had this whole page set up just so I can talk to young ladies because I experienced a lot and I have wisdom to share. And this is what I'm supposed to do. The Most High God said so. And I'm compelled to do it. I love young ladies and I enjoy sharing my wisdom to help prevent any case of making a baby outside of wedlock and having to raise your child alone. Like, I would love to do anything I could to help prevent that, to help encourage them to keep their legs closed until they get a husband. That's right. Even in this crazy day and age, you ought to keep your leg closed until you get a husband. I'm telling you, running around here willy-nilly, just opening up yourself to any man at any time because he looks good or because he got money, whatever your foolish reasons are, outside of I want a partner for life. I want to do what the Most High God ordained me to do, to be somebody's helpmate. You know, outside of that, it's ridiculous and it doesn't matter because it creates brokenness, broken homes, broken hearts, broken children growing up to be broken adults. And then they trying to have a functional relationship and fighting demons from the past. And it's just like a crazy repeated curse. And it's not something that we should stay quiet about, especially as adults who experience this and understand your lack, Now that you're older, you understand what you're lacking or what you've lacked. Because, let me tell you something. Once you give your heart to the Lord, He replaces everything. Whatever's empty and broken, He repairs it and He fills it up. So I'm not sitting up here crying a river about what happened in my past. I'm just letting you know that I recognize the importance of the things I did not have and how I just coped without it because I didn't know what else to do. You just tend to cope without it. So I want to make this video to say to the men, understand what you're doing before you get in between a woman's legs, okay? Because the power that you possess, you are the life giver. It's you. A lot of women think it's us. It is you, men. The sperm is the life. That sperm attaches to our eggs. We're just the breeding ground. We're the host for that baby's growth, right? But we come from the men. I want you to know your power. I want you to understand your position and that you are made in the image of our great God. You are made in the image of our great God, and He gave you a position, a high position as priest of the home. It is you who guide, who protect, who provide. That is your duty. And when you are missing from the household, we grow up and we have a part of us missing as adults. It is damaging to our community. It's damaging to the world, worldwide. Because when you look around, there are so many broken homes. Mothers trying to do things on their own. Father's Day, they just passed, and mothers run around telling my Happy Father's Day. You are not a father. I don't care how you slice it. I don't care what you say. You saying things because you're hurt and you're not really thinking logically. You can never be a father. And I was one of the foolish ones who would do that. Me and a good friend, we would call each other and say, Happy Father's Day, like fools. We were no fathers, we were moms. And I could never be both because the Father gave that man his position and He gave us our position. So I can't be two people. I can only be who I was ordained to be, and I am to be a mom, a nurturer. That's my job, the helpmeet to the man. And when that man is missing, something is missing in the family structure. It is not what the Father God has ordained for us. There is a missing link, and that link is important. Brothers, I love you. And I get your position in life. And, when I was younger, I was angry with men a lot. Like I said, I hadn't seen a righteous man. I hadn't seen a good marriage with, two healthy thinking people who were walking in the faith and raising their children that way. I never saw such a thing. I saw it when I got to church. I saw righteous men leading their families. I got to see that when I became grown and decided to take my daughters to church and raise them under the admonition of the Lord. Then I got to see some righteous men. But I think it's pretty sad that in my entire family, and I have a big family on my dad's side and my mom's side, that I saw none of that. I never saw a great marriage, a good marriage, an ideal marriage. I never knew what that looked like. And I thank God that I am blessed to have that now. When I married my children's father, I was young. And of course, I was nowhere near as wise as I am now. So everything was emotional. As a middle-aged woman in a marriage now, I understand what love is. Love is not this high passion and this lust and this feeling of butterflies in the stomach, because all that stuff will pass eventually. I mean, if you love your man, you still gonna float. He's still gonna float your boat when he walk in the room, because I know mine do. I look at him, I said, baby, you so fine. And he just blush, and I love it. And we're 56 and 57. He'd be like, girl, stop. I'm like, fine, boo. Love my boo. So I'm always going to have that little tingly thing because I love him. But it takes more than that to be in a relationship. And it takes us to be one another's mirror, to show one another our faults that we need to change, and so we can build together and encourage each other to greatness and excellence. And I love it. And I was able to build that without having that or seeing that in my life, just because of my relationship with the Father. and the teachers that I have, I study under, how they teach the word of God. And the scripture tells us what love is. Love is patient. Love is kind. It doesn't bear record of wrong. Love is forgiving. Love is something incredible. It is not what you feel. It is what you do. You have to practice loving people, even when they're not lovable, because that means you don't like them. Sometimes people do things you don't like and it just get on your nerve and you're just like, love? You're not thinking about love, because love is the furthest thing from your mind. But if you practice love the way the Most High God tells us to do it in the Bible, it's a different story, because it's not what you feel. Our feelings are fickle. We change our mind from minute to minute, from moment to moment. You're happy now, you're pissed the next moment, you're sad, you're mourning death, you feel like, oh, I don't want to live no more. Then one day you feel so elated, you're happy. So our feelings fluctuate, so our feelings don't mean much. It's almost like we're being schizophrenic from moment to moment, because we're all over the place. And so that's why the Father has to lead us the way he does and show us the things that he does, because he wants to guide us into having a righteous life. I don't want to be long, family. I just wanted to make this video because I wanted to show men how important you are, brother. You are very important. You are a crucial part of the family. And you are needed. I don't care what women have said to you. Oh, I don't need you. We could do without you. It's a lie. She's hurt. She's discouraged. And so she says mean things because she wants to hurt you, because she's hurt. I've been there, done that. Take it from me. When we say stuff like that, we have no idea what we're talking about. It takes two to make a baby. It's going to take two to raise that child, to grow that child, to teach that child, to protect that child, and care for that child. It takes two. That's the way of God. And children are a heritage of the parents. Peace, love, and blessings, family.